In 1805, Congress established the Port of Genesee. The port, however, was dangerous. It was surrounded by marshlands and the river partially blocked by a sandbar. A lighthouse was essential. In 1822, the Charlotte-Genesee Lighthouse was erected on a bluff overlooking the mouth of the Genesee River and the port of Charlotte. The two-room keeper's residence, built in 1822 along with the Charlotte-Genesee Lighthouse, was painfully small. The house was replaced in 1863 by the present brick structure.
One of the first keepers in the early times, and one of the longest keepers, was their keeper Smith. And he was here with his family. The first keeper's house was a lot smaller than we were standing in today. That was basically a one-room with a one story and a half, maybe you might call it. There was a loft in there. And the rooms were divided by a large fireplace in the center. One of the first keepers here had a family of 12 children. Very, very difficult to live in basically two rooms and one story. Then after that, in 1863, many years after that happened, the government said that they had some funds and they wanted to build the second keeper's house here. So where we are standing today was built in 1863. Many of the things in here date back into 1863, including all the windows and stuff like that. And even though renovations have been done, we tried to preserve as much as we could in our renovations here.
The Port of Genesee was a busy port. Ships full of grain, potash, lumber, and wheat arrived and departed continually. Later, Charlotte was a hub for steamships and the railroad. In the early 1900s, ferries transported coal to Canada. Shifting sandbars made it difficult for captains to find a safe entrance to the river. In 1829, the first piers were built to control the problem. A lighthouse was placed at the end of the pier in 1838, but was knocked over by the wind. In 1880, a lighthouse of cast iron was built at the end of the pier and eventually transferred to Cleveland. A third lighthouse was built on the end of the pier in 1884, and that light was taken down in 1930. Various other lights filled in over the years, and the present tower at the end of the pier was installed in 1993. Its official U.S. Coast Guard designation is D9 Tank Structure Tower, but many residents call it the Barber Pole. Wind and wave action redistributed the sandbars of the river, creating a beach at the base of the bluff. As the years wore on, the piers had to be lengthened, and the beach grew, causing the lighthouse to be somewhat removed from the water's edge. In 1881, the Lighthouse Board removed the light from service, and the lantern room was moved to the new lighthouse at the end of the West Pier in 1884. The keeper's house continued to be used by the lighthouse service personnel to service the pier light, but the tower next to the house was barren and empty. When the outer light was automated in 1940, the keeper's house then served as the home of the officer in charge of the Coast Guard up until 1982, when the Charlotte-Genesee Lighthouse Historical Society took over the lighthouse. 100 years after the removal of the lantern room, in 1984, students from Edison Technical High School built a new lantern room, and it was placed on top of the tower. A Fresnel lens was also installed in 1984. In 2011, however, the Coast Guard retrieved the lens and returned it to Lorraine Lighthouse in Ohio, where it had served for many years. A replica Fresnel lens was installed in the Charlotte-Genesee Lighthouse and activated on November 1, 2014, the anniversary of the first lighting in 1822. The Old Stone Tower is one of the oldest standing lighthouses on the American side of the Great Lakes. The Society maintains a museum and gift shop inside the keeper's house. Tours are available.
Now available on DVD or Blu-ray, the WPBS TV production of New York's Seaway Lighthouses, featuring the fascinating histories of over 20 different lighthouses along the shores of New York's Seaway Trail. Order your copy today.
New York Seaway Lighthouses is sponsored by the Department of the Interior National Park Service and by Taste New York at the North Country Welcome Center overlooking the Thousand Islands Bridge.